I was just sitting here and a story came to mind, and I'm going to tell you this story anyway. This is from when I was locked up. It's kind of a comical story in a way, although it ended with some violence. But still, it was kind of comical what this guy said. Now, it earned him a punch in the mouth. It did. He got punched in the mouth for it, but, you know, it was pretty funny. When I was locked up, of course, we had to go to school, and they had a school right there on the premises, and they had marched us into this building from the housing unit. Basically, they had marched us into this building along a walkway with high fence. It was all enclosed in wire fence, and it had a roof on it. And they'd walk us through there into this other building, which was a school. And when we got into there, we had to go up a flight of stairs, and then we went through a steel door into a big area with chairs along the walls, basically, and you were ordered to sit there. And then that door was closed, and there was a guard locked in there with us. And then when classes started, they had unlocked the classrooms and allow us into the classrooms. But we usually had to sit there for a good anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour before we were allowed into the classrooms with a correctional officer. Now, some correctional officers weren't too bad, they were just doing their job and you could kid around with them and stuff. But the guy we had this particular day, he was known to be a real hard ass. You did look at him the wrong way and he'd beat you. Some of them were like that. You had to be very careful with some of them. Anyway, I don't know, a lot of the guys I was locked up with, they came off the streets, and they were tough, and not guys to fool around with either, really. But of course, they were in jail. They didn't have any rights. That's how it was. Anyway, there's this one fella there, and he had a way of talking. He actually sounded like he was from the Bronx. And I think he purposely cultivated that accent so he could sound tough, But anyway, he was sitting there, and this guard had shiny new black leather shoes on. They were just shining, a brand new black patent leather shoes. This guard is standing there anyway. And this fella with the Brooklyn sounding accent, even though I'm sure he was never within 200 miles of Brooklyn in his life. He was sitting there in one of the chairs along the wall. I was sitting in another chair on the other side of the room, so I was kind of directly across from him, And anyway, I was actually very well liked. I was actually highly respected there. The other ones I was locked up with really did like me, and they respected me. Like I say, I never had issues with anyone in there other than the staff. I had issues with the staff, but never with the other people I was locked up with. Anyway, it ended up, the first day I had one guy tested me the first day, and I never had any issues after that because I stood up to him. He could easily have beat me. He could easily have put me in the hospital. But the fact that I stood up to him was enough that I didn't have to fight him or anything. I was being tested, and I passed. So after that, I was fine. I had no more problems. And even that fella and we got along just fine after that, But anyway, this other fella with the Brooklyn accent or whatever, he's sitting up against the wall there, and he says to the guard, he says, Sir, he said, I like your new shoes. You get a free bowl of soup with them? Just like that, you get a free bowl of soup with them, you get a free bowl of soup with them, just like that. And the guard turned around and hauled off and punched him in the mouth. Just drove him in the mouth. And then, of course, we all started to laugh when the guy said that. And the guard, he just turned around, his face was beet red. And you could tell he was in a rage, And he just turned around and he said, anyone else think that's funny? Well, you could have heard a pin drop anyway. There was no more laughing at that point. But I never forgot that, though, the way the guy said that, He says, Sir, he said, I like your new shoes you get a free bowl of soup with them. Just like that. Yeah, like you got them at the Salvation Army or something. I give you a free bowl of soup and a pair of shoes. Anyway, it's kind of a comical story of it. Well, as comical as things get in that situation anyway. Any opportunity to laugh is appreciated, even if it is kind of interrupted by brutality. Anyway, just something that came to mind when I was sitting here, something that I remembered. I was listening to old 1980s music, and because I'm doing some Tin Lion videos, and the song that I posted up was actually a song that's about 3 years older, or 3 years newer than my experience, because I was in locked up in 1983, and the song I posted with Tin Lion just now, it should be loading as we speak, is I Can't Wait by New Shoes, which is from 1986. But so that song wasn't around in 83, but it's still a 1980s song. So I started to think about things anyway, and that I just remembered that story. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. We all survived, as far as I know. Oh well. It is what it is, eh? What can you do? Talk to you later.